Calificas para ser legal. ¿Quieres saber? Solo llama al abogado Andrés Mejer.
So, first is Han Hyun Mu, 17-year-old born in Korea. Mother was Korean, father was Nigerian. Tried to come into the United States, and he was detained and deported because they didn't believe him that he was Korean. Why? Because he looks African American. Probably looks a lot more like his father than his mother. Doesn't speak a word of English. They didn't believe he was actually Korean. I can't make this stuff up. It really does happen. Han Hyun Mu did not speak a word of English, only spoke Korean, and looked like somebody from the Bronx or from Atlanta. He looked as American as any African American does, and they didn't believe him. Now, let me give you another horror story. This one's worse. So that one is just, you can't judge a book by its cover. So if he had been traveling inside the U.S., he might have gotten the same level of suspicion, the same level of scrutiny. Here, I think, was an officer, I don't know, maybe he had worked a long shift. I don't know what happened. I mean, one could check the validity of a passport. I don't see how that's a basis to not allow someone into the United States. But hey, there's lots of that going on nowadays. So let's talk about Maria and George. Those are not their real names. George is a U.S. citizen living in Florida. Maria is a Canadian citizen who wanted to live in Florida. So she and her two boys went to Florida on vacation, met George, romance happened. For the next 2 years, every two or three times a year, either Maria would come to Florida, to the U.S., or George would go to Canada, or vice versa. In one of those trips, the most recent one, she brought her two boys. School was out. They came for the summer to stay with George, and George proposed, and she said yes. Now again, George is a U.S. citizen. Maria is a Canadian citizen. So Maria overstayed her visa. She stayed longer than she should have. And to celebrate the engagement, she went on a cruise with some friends. And that cruise left the territorial waters of the United States. And when she tried to re-enter, she met a Customs Border official who asked her, well, ma'am, I see that you were here and you overstayed your visa by just a couple of days. You left for a week and you came back. What's going on? Why are you spending so much time in the U.S. and why are you coming back? And she says, well, I went on a cruise with some friends to celebrate my engagement. My boys are here with my fiancee, who's a U.S. citizen, and it's our intention to get married and to ultimately live in the U.S. Big no-no. Why? She entered the U.S. Tourist. Canadian citizen just presents her visa. There's an implied statement by presenting her passport, just like if you come from the UK or from Spain or Portugal or even now from Chile. There's implied in the visa is that you're coming to the U.S. temporarily and then leaving back to your home country. It is not your intent to stay here in the U.S. permanently, but only for a short period of time for X reason. The moment you say, it's my intention to stay here permanently, you can't enter under a temporary visa. So the officer, he could have just denied her entry. No, he deported her back to Canada. Husband came to us after the fact. What do? He flew to Canada. They got married. He's applying for her, and we're going through that process. And it's compounded by the fact that she now has an order of removal. It was unnecessary. It could have been avoided. I would have told her not to go on the cruise. If it was her desire to stay here, he should have filed for her first, and she should have waited until she was a green card holder before traveling. Alternatively, she could have filed for the consular process, meaning family-based petitions have two processes, generally two stages. One is document the relationship, that it's legitimate and appropriate, that it isn't done just to receive an immigration benefit. And the second part is change of status. She could have said, listen, I came here, I got engaged, we now got married, but I need to go and sell my home, I need to pack up my stuff, I need to bring, the kids need to finish school, or whatever it is, right? I need to pack up my stuff and come back to the United States. I'm going to be going back and forth for a while until I get my green card, and then I'll stay here. Now, she could be 100% above board. They may give her a problem at the border, or they may not. It really depends on the officer. But at the end of the day, they should allow her entry. But she's saying, hey, I'm already married. My petition's pending. Please allow me to enter temporarily for a period of time. I am going to have to leave because my interview I chose to have in Canada. I could have had it in the US, but I chose not to because I'm not going to be staying here until I'm a green card holder. So all of that could have been done, and I would have given that advice had I met her, but I didn't meet her until, well, I didn't meet her in person yet. I spoke to her over Zoom, through video, and her husband. So him I met personally. But that was after the fact, and the damage had already been done. Thank you for listening to this program. My name is Andres Mejer. As always, if you have any questions, you can give us a call. You can find us on social media or on the web at Andres Mejer Law. Until next time.